Welcome, spicy ladies. Real power doesn't beg to be seen. It's felt quietly, deeply, and without apology. Most people assume flirting is loud, obvious glances, exaggerated laughter, and playful touches. But for Sigma females, it's something entirely different. They don't flirt like other women because they don't need to. Their presence already says everything without trying to be anything. Sigma females move through the world with clarity. They know who they are and never feel the need to be more charming, more likable, or more appealing to earn attention. They're not performing. They're observing. And that's exactly why it works. You feel them before they even say much. It's in their tone, their timing, and their unshakable stillness. Their version of flirting is subtle, sharp, and intentional. It's not for everyone, and that's the point. What really sets them apart is how uninterested they are in playing games. They won't pretend to be into you just to feel desired. They won't hand out compliments for attention in return. They don't use softness as bait. If they engage, it's because they mean it. That kind of honesty catches people off guard in the best way. If you are a Sigma female, understand this. The world may not always recognize your type right away. That's okay. You were never meant to blend in or follow the script. You were meant to disrupt quietly and leave a lasting impression without even trying. And that is a strength very few women can ever master. Own it fully. Let's dive in, spicy ladies. 1. They don't use their body, they use your thoughts. Sigma females don't rely on physical cues to grab attention. They're not playing with their hair, adjusting their outfit, or using body language to spark attraction. That's too surface level for them. What they aim for is something deeper, something that sticks. They don't flirt with their body. They flirt with your mind. And that's a completely different battlefield. When a Sigma woman engages with someone, even for just a moment, she knows how to leave an impression without saying much. Maybe it's a question she asks that no one's ever asked you before. Maybe it's the way she challenges your perspective, not to argue, but to make you think differently. Or maybe it's the calm, direct way she holds eye contact, like she sees more than what you're saying. That's how she plants the seed. And then she leaves it alone. She doesn't hover. She doesn't double back to see if you're still thinking about her. She's already moved on. But the thought she drops starts growing. You replay the conversation. You think about the question she asked. You try to read into the way she said that one thing. And before you know it, you're hooked. Not on her looks, not on her body, but on the way she made you feel, the way she made you think. This is her quiet skill. She doesn't seduce through touch. She doesn't lure with obvious gestures. She enters your mind and lets your imagination do the rest. And the more you try to figure her out, the deeper you go until eventually you're chasing the idea of her. Not because she asked you to, but because she never gave you the full picture. That's the difference. Most people attract attention. Sigma females embed themselves into your thoughts. And once they're in there, good luck getting them out. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. 2. They're allergic to performative femininity. Sigma females don't play dress up with their personality. They're allergic to performative femininity, the kind that's exaggerated to win approval. You won't catch them overdoing the soft voice, the constant smiling, or the carefully curated sweetness that's designed to be palatable. That kind of act might work for others, but for a Sigma woman, it feels like betrayal. She refuses to dilute who she is just to fit into someone else's definition of feminine. There's nothing wrong with softness or charm, but with a Sigma, it has to be real, authentic, not turned on like a switch when someone interesting walks in. She doesn't giggle just to fill space. She doesn't compliment just to be liked. She doesn't play small to make someone else feel big. Every move she makes is intentional, stripped of pretense, and rooted in self-respect. Her version of womanhood doesn't come in a polished box with a bow on top. It's sharp when it needs to be, unapologetic when it should be, and calm without being submissive. People often don't know how to respond to this kind of raw femininity because it doesn't fit the usual mold. It doesn't flirt. It tests. It doesn't charm. It challenges. This is why she stands out. She isn't performing to win attention. She isn't trying to be pleasing or safe. She's simply showing up as herself, flaws and all, power and all. And that kind of presence is rare. It's womanhood without the illusion. It's energy without the act. And once you see it, you realize it's not less feminine. It's more real. And that makes it unforgettable. 3. They don't flirt to win. They flirt to reveal. Sigma females don't flirt to gain the upper hand. They're not trying to win anyone over or prove they're irresistible. In fact, they couldn't care less about winning in the way most people define it. Their version of flirting isn't about collecting attention or gaining favor. It's about uncovering what's real underneath all the noise. When a Sigma woman flirts, she's not aiming to impress. She's observing. She's listening not just to what you say, but to what you hide. She watches how you respond when things get a little quiet, when the conversation shifts into something real, when the usual flirty scripts fall apart. That's when she leans in because she wants to see who you are without the mask, without the charm, without the pressure to perform. She doesn't flirt with surface-level compliments or obvious attraction. She'll ask you something that cuts past your image. She'll challenge your ideas, interrupt your rehearsed confidence, and see how you react when you're thrown off balance. Not to make you feel small, but to see if you have depth. She's not looking for chemistry. She's scanning for substance. That's why her presence feels so different. Most people flirt to be liked. A Sigma female flirts to uncover the truth. If you respond well, if you show her your real thoughts instead of your polished lines, she'll keep going. If not, she'll quietly pull back without drama. It's not a game for her. It's a method, a way of filtering the world around her. She's not chasing a romantic win. She's revealing character. And in doing that, she finds the rare few who aren't afraid to be seen without filters. That's where the real connection happens. Not in the chase, but in the unveiling. 4. They turn down compliments with grace and dominance. Compliment a Sigma female, and you'll quickly realize she handles praise differently. She won't blush, giggle, or melt into flattered gratitude. Instead, she might give you a calm nod, a half smile, or a simple thank you that somehow feels both gracious and untouchable. She accepts admiration without giving up an inch of her power, and that quiet control is unforgettable. You see, Sigma females don't crave validation. They don't depend on compliments to feel seen. They already know who they are, and they don't need outside voices to remind them. So, when someone praises their looks, their intelligence, or their presence, they receive it not because they need it, but because they've earned it. And they move on without making it a big deal. This can be disarming to people who are used to their compliments being a form of control. Many give praise hoping to see a reaction, hoping to make someone soften, get excited, or give something in return. But when a Sigma female meets a compliment with poise and certainty, it flips the dynamic. Suddenly, she's not the one reacting. You are. It's dominance without aggression, confidence without arrogance. And it leaves people a little stunned because you realize she's not playing the usual game. She's not fishing for more. She's not trying to charm you. She's standing firmly in who she is and showing you gently that she's not moved by shallow admiration. That's not coldness. That's power. Real grounded feminine power that doesn't shrink or overcompensate. It just is. And if you thought your words would sway her, think again. She doesn't lose herself in compliments. She uses them to remind others that she doesn't have to try. She already is. 5. They lean into tension, not comfort. Sigma females don't smooth things over just to make people feel safe. They're not interested in small talk or fake chemistry. They don't laugh to fill silence or nod to keep things light. In fact, they do the opposite. They lean into the awkward pauses, the challenging questions, the unpredictable moments, and that's exactly what sets them apart. Most people flirt by trying to create comfort. They lower the tension so things feel easier, lighter, more familiar. But Sigma women aren't here to make you feel cozy. They're here to make you feel awake. They allow tension to hang in the room like thick air, and they don't rush to clear it. That tension becomes the spark, the thing that makes a moment memorable, the edge that makes it electric. You might be in the middle of a conversation with her and she'll suddenly go quiet. Not because she's checked out but because she's thinking. Most people would panic and fill that gap with noise. She doesn't. She's completely fine with you sitting in that stillness and feeling unsure. It's a test of presence. Can you handle depth? Can you stay in the moment without running back to comfort? That's the difference. Sigma females don't flirt to make things easy. They flirt by creating a subtle sense of challenge, not drama, not chaos, just tension. The kind that keeps people engaged, slightly off balance, and totally intrigued. When someone can sit with discomfort, it shows strength. When they let that discomfort linger and invite you to meet them there, it shows power. And that power draws people in without a single sweet word. While most flirtation fades quickly, the impression a Sigma woman leaves lasts because she didn't chase connection. She created a moment you couldn't forget. All because she let tension breathe and never once tried to tame it. 6. They show no signs of neediness because they have none. Most people flirt because they want to be seen, wanted, or chosen. It's a gentle performance, a way of saying, look at me. Like me, pick me. But Sigma females don't operate that way. They don't flirt to feel worthy. They already know their worth. And that changes everything. A Sigma female doesn't light up because someone gives her attention. She doesn't start glowing when she's complimented. Why? Because she wasn't waiting for it in the first place. She knows who she is with or without validation. That self-assurance is rare and people feel it instantly. It's not arrogance. It's emotional independence. It's the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need to be liked to feel valuable. And the irony is that very lack of neediness makes people want her even more. It's human nature. When someone doesn't try to be seen, you start looking. When someone doesn't beg to be chosen, you wonder why, and that curiosity grows. She becomes a question mark in a world full of exclamation points. Others might use attention to fill an emotional gap, but the Sigma female doesn't have that gap. She's not flirting for reassurance. She's not trying to prove anything. She's simply being herself. And that calm self-possession becomes her strongest form of attraction. People chase her not because she tries to be desirable, but because she doesn't need to be. She isn't performing. She's present. She isn't reaching. She's rooted. And when someone isn't asking for your attention but quietly holds your focus anyway, that's when you realize this is a different kind of woman. Not loud, not needy, just unforgettable. 7. They're emotionally off-grid. Sigma females operate on a different emotional frequency. They're not cold, they're not heartless. They're just emotionally self-contained. You won't find their feelings spilling out in hopes of being understood or comforted. You won't see them oversharing to create false intimacy. In fact, unless she chooses to let you in, you'll never really know what she feels. And that emotional distance, that's what pulls people in deeper. There's something quietly magnetic about someone who doesn't hand over their heart so easily. It's not a defense mechanism. It's discipline. Sigma females have learned to sit with their emotions, understand them, and handle them on their own. They don't need an audience. They don't need anyone to save them. That independence is powerful and a little intimidating. People are so used to reading others like open books that when they meet someone who doesn't hand them a single page, they become obsessed with finding the story. They want to know what she's thinking, what she's feeling, what her silence means. But she won't give you clues just because you're curious. That emotional privacy is her power, and she guards it carefully. And here's the truth. Mystery is more powerful than any sweet words or obvious emotions. Predictability is easy to forget, but someone who keeps you wondering, someone who gives you just enough to stay interested, but never enough to figure them out, that's unforgettable. Being emotionally off-grid doesn't mean she's disconnected. It means she chooses connection very, very carefully. She wants to know you can hold your own emotional weight before she shows you hers. And if she does open up to you, it won't be loud. It'll be rare, quiet, precious. The kind of moment that stays with you long after it ends. And that's exactly why it works. 8. They don't offer attention. They make you earn it. A Sigma female does not hand out attention like it's free candy. She's selective, not because she wants to seem special, but because her energy is valuable and she knows it. While others might flirt to make people feel good or to create instant chemistry, A Sigma female uses her attention like a filter. She's not trying to impress you. She's watching to see if you impress her, not with looks or smooth lines, but with how real you are. This is where most people get it wrong. They think being noticed is the goal. But with a Sigma female, being noticed means nothing unless you show substance. Her version of flirting isn't about making you feel desired right away. It's about quietly testing who you are without announcing the test. She'll pick up on how you carry yourself, how you handle silence, how honest you are when there's no pressure to perform, every response, every reaction. You're showing her what you're made of. That smile you think she gave you? It wasn't flirtation. It was recognition. A reward for showing up as your real self. That moment of eye contact? She's not teasing, she's assessing. Most people miss this because they're too busy trying to charm her. But she doesn't care about surface level charm. She's watching for control, for depth, for self-respect. In her world, flirting isn't generosity. It's a mirror. She gives you exactly what you earn, not more, not less. And if you pass her quiet tests, if you show her that you're more than just words, that's when the door opens just a little. Not all the way. Just enough for you to know you're on the right track. With her, nothing is casual. Every glance, every pause, every shift in energy, it all means something. But you won't see it unless you're paying attention. And if you are, then maybe, just maybe you're worth hers. 9, they let you doubt where you stand. Sigma females have a way of keeping people on their toes. Not because they're trying to play hard to get, but because they're naturally hard to read. While most people flirt by offering validation and clear signals, a Sigma female does the opposite. She doesn't hand out comfort. She doesn't go out of her way to make you feel secure. Instead, she leaves space, room for doubt, for curiosity, for wonder. And that's exactly why people find her so captivating. She won't shower you with compliments or send mixed messages just to get a reaction. She simply doesn't over-explain her feelings or make her intentions obvious. One moment you're laughing together. The next you're wondering if she's even interested. But she's not doing it to confuse you. She's not running a game. That quiet unpredictability is just part of how she moves through the world. She's not rushing to define anything. And that unsettles people who are used to instant reassurance. This is the difference. While others give you a predictable rhythm of attention, the Sigma female keeps it uneven. She'll be fully present in one conversation, then detach the next time you see her. Not because she's avoiding you, but because she doesn't feel the need to perform connection on demand. She values authenticity more than consistency, and that makes her presence feel rare. It's that uncertainty that makes people keep coming back. When you don't know where you stand, you lean in more. You try harder. You overthink. And in that space of doubt, she quietly gains influence, not by control, but by being exactly who she is without apology. And the truth is, most people don't realize how addicted they've become to that mystery until it's gone. When someone else tries to replace her energy with predictable flattery, it just doesn't compare. That's the Sigma effect. She doesn't offer certainty. She offers presence and lets you figure out the rest. 10. They flirt through intellect, not appearance. A Sigma female doesn't flirt the way most people expect. She doesn't rely on looks or practice charm. She flirts through depth, through intellect, through the kind of conversation that lingers in your mind long after she's gone. She doesn't dress her words up to sound sweet or harmless. Instead, she speaks with clarity, confidence, and thoughtfulness. And that's where her power really lives, in the way she makes you think, not in how she makes you look at her. You won't catch her playing the fool to stroke someone's ego. That's never been her style. If anything, she does the opposite. She challenges you. She makes you rethink your assumptions. She asks questions that stop you mid-sentence. She listens not to respond, but to understand, and that alone throws people off because it's so rare. Imagine being in a conversation with someone who actually hears you. Not just your words, but your intent. That's how Sigma females engage. And when they speak, they don't just skim the surface. They go into the layers. Talk to her about art, psychology, the human condition, your fears, your ambitions, and she'll meet you there without flinching. That's where her seduction begins. Not in the way she flips her hair, but in the way she flips your thinking. This is why people remember her. Not because she stood out physically, but because she left a mark mentally. She doesn't play a part to get attention. She lets her mind lead the way. And ironically, that makes her even more attractive. People feel drawn in without realizing what's happening. It's not about looks, it's about presence. If you've ever had a deep talk with someone who made you feel seen in ways you didn't expect, you've had a glimpse of what a Sigma female brings to the table. And once someone experiences that level of connection, everything else starts to feel small. That's not flirting, that's influence. And it works every time. 11. They don't flirt to connect. They flirt to reveal your intentions. Sigma females don't flirt to build instant connection. That's not their goal. They're not trying to spark chemistry or create warm, fuzzy vibes. Every interaction with them is more like a quiet scan, an observation. They're not sitting there wondering, does he like me? They're thinking, what is he really here for? When a Sigma female flirts, if you can even call it that, she's not giving you access. She's studying you, not in a suspicious way, but in a deeply aware, finely tuned kind of way. She's watching your words, your body language, your tone. She's noticing if your charm feels rehearsed, if your compliments are generic, if you're selling a version of yourself, or simply being honest. She isn't trying to impress you. She's measuring your authenticity. That's where people slip. They walk in expecting her to respond the way most women do. Smiles, flattery, soft responses. But Sigma females don't reward performative behavior. They sense manipulation like it has a smell. If you're trying to push an agenda, if your energy is transactional, if you're hunting for validation, she'll clock it almost immediately. And she won't call it out. She'll just emotionally exit. The scary part is, you may not even know you've been disqualified. She won't argue. She won't announce it. She'll simply withdraw that subtle curiosity you thought you felt, and you'll be left wondering what just shifted. For her, flirting is never about the game. It's about seeing through the game. Every word, every smile, every silence, it's all data. She doesn't flirt to be seen. She flirts to see you clearly. And once she does, she either leans in or walks away without looking back. So if you think you're clever enough to play her, you're already losing. Because while you're focused on your next move, she's already figured out your endgame. 12. Their aura feels unavailable even when they're present. Being next to a Sigma female can feel like standing beside a beautiful storm. You sense the depth, the intensity, the force, but it stays just out of reach. She could be sitting right across from you, nodding along, making eye contact, even smiling. But there's always something about her that feels distant, not rude, not cold, just somewhere else. As if a part of her is never fully in the room. And that feeling drives people wild. There's a paradox in her presence. You can't pin her down emotionally. You can't predict her reactions. One moment she's deeply engaged, and the next she's vanished into her own thoughts without warning. That emotional distance isn't accidental. It's not a game. It's how she protects herself and how she keeps her mind clear. Sigma females never fully hand over their emotional power to anyone. That's what keeps their energy so rare. When people notice that emotional drift, they start to chase something they can't name. They lean in more, ask more, try harder to impress just to feel that she's fully there. They want confirmation. They want presence. But she never gives too much of herself away. And that subtle withholding is what gives her the upper hand. She doesn't need to control the room to hold power. Her power comes from the tension she creates without trying. That edge, that something missing, makes people want to stay just a little longer, hoping for a glimpse of the full picture. It's like trying to catch smoke with your hands. The more effort you put in, the more you realize she's not something to be caught. She's something to be respected, observed, not owned. And once someone realizes that, the chase turns inward. People stop asking what she's thinking and start asking why they're so drawn to her. That's the Sigma effect. In final words, some women don't light up the room. They shift the atmosphere without saying a word. Sigma females don't flirt to entertain. They don't use their charm as bait. They don't present a polished version of femininity just to win attention. What they do instead is far more powerful. They bring presence, real presence, the kind that doesn't ask to be seen, but makes people feel something anyway. They don't flirt to connect. They flirt to understand. They don't offer attention. They make you earn it. Every look, every silence, every response is intentional. There's no performance, no sugarcoating, no emotional hunger. Just a steady, self-contained energy that quietly filters out the shallow from the sincere. That's why their style of flirtation works. It's not even flirtation. It's alignment. It's clarity. And it's rare. If you're a Sigma female, understand this. The way you interact with the world will confuse people who are used to empty charm and easy validation. Let it. You were not built to play along. You were built to stand firm. Your quietness speaks louder than loudness ever could. Your stillness unsettles for a reason. It's not cold. It's focused. It's not distant. It's discerning. You don't need to become more approachable. You don't need to be more playful or more feminine by someone else's definition. You are enough as you are. And the ones who are meant for you will see the difference not just in how you move, but in what you don't do. So stay sharp, stay grounded, and most of all, stay real. Because while others are trying to impress the world, you've already learned the secret. Presence without pretense is the most magnetic thing a woman can own. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies make life beautiful, thank you for watching and God bless.